Hello.
Hi, guys.
We're back.
Yep. Back in business. I was trying to think of something catchy.
I know. I couldn't think of anything either.
I'm like, back in.
I was like, we've been up since 5:30, so it's been a long day.
I've been up since 5. My first alarm goes off at 5:15. And, okay, are you a, multiple alarm setter?
I have one.
Me too.
I have
Jonathan
one.
Thinks I'm a psychopath.
Oh, no.
As soon as mine goes up,
I'm like, whoop. Yep. And then I'm like, kids, get up. Instantly.
And the multiple ones I have are not for me to get up. It's so I stay on time in the morning. Like, I have one at then 5:40 because then I'm like, okay, by that point I've already used the bathroom, brushed my teeth, washed my face. Then I knock on Camden's door. I'm like, you've got 25 minutes. Get up.
Yep.
And then the next one is 6 o'clock. That's my warning because we have to be out the door by 6:30. And usually depending on who's watching Jed, they have to be here by 6:10 at the latest.
Yeah, or else you're like, I can't get to work on time.
So if Cayman or my mom or his girlfriend, whoever is watching him is not here, then I'm like, okay, that alarm's gone off and I'm calling, hey, how far are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I could see where you're coming from because I only rely on myself in the morning. So I'm just like, okay, I know that I have about 20 minutes to myself in the bathroom. I get my whole self ready before work, and then I go shake them, and we instantly go downstairs. They get dressed, eat,
Cereals.
and we're right out the door.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just whatever. Pop-Tarts, cereal, sometimes cinnamon rolls, biscuits, whatever is easy to pop in when I wake up and
Girl, you're
feed
better
them.
than me. I'm like, get up, you'll eat at school.
Oh, well, yeah, my kids can eat at school too, but I'm just like, sometimes if they're like, Mom, I really don't want the food at school, I'll make them something.
Yeah.
So.
I think, though, it's because Cam's now in middle school, and they have, a snack line at lunch and breakfast, and I'll see
I ain't got snack monies, though.
Well, he runs that thing into the deficit. He'll be like, hi, good morning, you owe us $12. And I'm like, go and look. For the last week, he's just been buying breakfast
Chips
tacos,
and shit. You're
chips.
like, kid.
I'm like, what the fuck? Ice cream? I'm like, who's paying for this?
I know, Landon.
Who's bankrolling you?
I had $15 in Landon's account. I'm like, if I ever go and have lunch with them and I don't have time to pick something up, at least I can eat 2 with them. And I go and I look at it and it's negative, $2. And I'm like, what? And I was like, hey, Landon.
He figured out he had money in there.
He goes, well, one day I just got a bag of chips and then I was just able to get chips after that. I was like, that's not how this works.
He's like, oh, it's
that's
the moment.
My money.
As an adult where you're like, I think there's still money on this credit card. And they're
decline.
Okay.
You're like, oh shit.
Or the better part is when they're like, here's your receipt, ma'am. You're like, yeah, thank you.
I didn't think that shit was going to work.
Okay, whatever.
Sounds great. That's literally him. He's like, it just kept going. It was working. I was like,
that's why I think they don't let people write checks anymore. A lot of places won't take checks.
Well, yeah, girl, people would be lying.
They'd be like, yeah.
And then you have 2 weeks, till it hits. I'm just like, that's why I think HEB still takes checks regularly.
Really?
Yeah, because they have a lot of old people that shop there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and
I
they
would
still
even
have
know how to fill out
the
a check.
Really? I still have to fill it out for a couple bills and send them in.
No, I would.
So that's why I have it.
That is that's the problem is I'll forget. I'll never pay it.
Oh my God. Unless you just instantly put in your debit card number or whatever.
It has to be on auto pay, everything. And really quick before we get into today's topic, because it did happen to me recently. I budget down to everything, the penny. And somehow my insurance with Allstate got turned off auto pay. They don't know how it happened. It just did. And 1 month during Christmas time, I was like, first of all, it's Christmas time. So I'm already budgeting for gifts.
Yeah. And then you're like, how do I have
extra? $200. And I was like, okay, I'll just put it away. Maybe I overestimated some things. No.
You drove all of December with no car insurance?
Yes.
You lucky bitch.
And then they called. But what pissed me off is
they took a whole month to call you.
They took a month to tell me, Miss Garza, you're at risk for. Girl, I tore them up. I was like, and then I have a
at risk.
Agent.
It's on auto pay.
Yeah, and I was like, who the fuck authorized? Girl, I was pissed. And I paid him the full $400, thankfully, because I was like, this don't seem right.
You had the extra $200.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to the savings account. I was like, this, something's off. I'm like, nope. So that's exactly why I put shit on auto pay.
I was about to say, I think I just have my insurance and like stuff like that on auto pay. Everything else, like, I just pay it as it comes.
No, because
like,
they had the audacity to be like, you didn't see it, get your... I'm like, I don't see any. I get paid. I know how much I get paid. I do my math. I know how much I need for, like, shit. And that's it.
Are you salary or hourly?
I'm salary.
Salary? Oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah. So
I was about to say it's hard because you get...
every 2 weeks.
See, that's good. I was about to say if I had something like that, it'd be easier for me to budget a little bit better.
Right, when you're...
But mine's sparse.
See, and I don't know, like, even too now thinking about it, I guess this is like a good segue into our conversation. So me and Brittany were talking about what we would tell our younger selves, like, you know, if we could go back in time and like talk to our younger selves. And I really think, like, if I could talk to like high school me, like right before she was ready to go to college, I'd be like, don't go to college. Honestly, I'd be like, get into sales, get into real estate. Like, I feel like, especially when the market was that good. I mean,
it was good. It was
good.
I was about to say, well, wasn't there a crash in 2008 though?
Bitch, I graduated in 2012 when
the market was I was like, I graduated in 2008. I was like, I couldn't have been a realtor then.
Yeah, no.
But right after, yeah, I totally could have.
Like 2010, 11, yeah. It got really good. And
it was real good.
Mm-hmm. From 2012 to 2018. Yeah,
I mean,
we got our home and land for like, people, when I tell them, they're like, no way. And then I tell them the interest rate, and they're like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, that's why I tell people I'm going to die in this house. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like,
I'm serious.
No, I'm going to die in this house.
Like, I'm serious. And after Brittany can sell it.
Yeah. Like, the kids will be like, sell it. We don't care. But I think my younger self was just very lost on what she wanted to do. I'll say this. If I could talk to my younger self, I'd be like, I understand why you're going to school because I just didn't want to be poor anymore. Like, I remember being so poor growing up that I'd be like, God, this sucks. like your whole landing with the chips thing, that was never my life. If I tried to grab something extra, they'd be like, girl, now you know you ain't got no money.
Well, yeah, back in the day, they didn't let that shit slide. If you didn't have, they'd be like, you can't go negative. Yep. You get peanut butter and jelly. You're like...
Yeah, you got a peanut butter and jelly with the carrot sticks.
I always packed a big old pickle and a bag of hot Cheetos with some Lucas. That's why I have terrible acid reflux now. Or like now, I would tell myself back then, don't eat that every day for lunch. Because when you're in your 30s, now you got acid reflux. Terribly.
What's acid reflux? Like, you don't want to know.
Little kids, I know when Harper eats Takis, I'm like, acid reflux. Right
ulcers.
There.
Like, do you want ulcers? But yeah, I just remember being so poor that I was like, the best way through is just to go to college, which I'm not dogging college at all. I mean, I'm still going for my PhD.
I was about to say, girl, you're still in college.
I'm still in, but
you're talking about like doing like a trade school at first or something like that to go ahead and get your foot in the door. Yeah, I should have done that too. I mean, I got my associates for, like I had gotten my associates for doing a year at ACC and then a year at Texas State. Yeah. And then I went and did dentistry and stuff like that.
And you made a shit ton in dentistry.
I did. If I could go back to dentistry, I don't think I would though, because it was 6 to 6 Monday through sometimes Saturdays. Like
if there's an emergency.
Yes. And you just never knew like your schedule. And so with 2 kids by myself, I have to know my schedule. Like it has to be set for them.
Yeah.
But I would still tell my younger self too, like, do the trade school again. Like, don't waste your time going to a big school if you don't know exactly what you want to do. I think that's the pressure.
Amen.
I was only 17 when I graduated high school, and Same. I'd already been taking ACC classes for like 2 years by that point because my high school in Austin was a
dual credit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just wasted, that time when I could have been already moving on to something else.
Well, okay, so...
And at 17, you don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life. They literally ask you every day, well, what do you want to major in? What do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know.
And they still allow kids in undergrad to go in as undeclared. I recently found
that
out. And I was like, why the fuck are...
What?
So that was... Because you're just getting your preliminaries. Like, you're just getting your basics. But I'm like, y'all are still allowing undeclared, because I don't know how many people I saw going as undeclared. They didn't make it, like, even after the first semester. But even for me, like, I went as a poli-sci major, and I was like, I'm going to go to law school. And, like, I don't, like, even now, I'm just like, could I be a lawyer? I don't know. But, like, I don't even have a passion for it. Like, and at 17, like, that's what you're saying. You don't really know.
You don't.
You're a part.
Like, you're just like, oh, shit, I was just in high school. Like, am I not? And you're like, well, that's not your life anymore. Now every day is empty unless you fill it with a job or going to college. Like,
yeah.
So that's just, it's just so rough to, like, if you're not, like, you know, oh, I know I'm bound and determined to be a vet, and like you say that for forever and then you end up going, that's like your true calling then. But I was never one of those people. I was never like,
and how many kids really are one of those people?
Nothing. My kids change their career every year. Like when I'm like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like now Lana wants to be an engineer, except for sis. Hers has been a veterinarian the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So
but, and even like that may be a passion of hers, animals, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's just like a small piece of your full identity.
Yeah, just because I told her, I said, okay, but I know you want to do it because you love animals so much and you want to help them, but you also have to remember the downside. So there's like 3 like jobs that I knew I couldn't fucking do. I knew I could not be a veterinarian because I will cry if somebody brings their dog in there and is like, we need to put old Sammy down, and I will not be able to do it. I will take Sammy home and let him live out his best days.
Oh God.
And before you know it, I got 80 dogs in my house. I also knew I couldn't be like a home health care like nurse or anything like that because
with,
if
like,
one of my
elderly
people pass away, that I fall in love with especially, like that would kill me. I wouldn't be able to survive. Like there's just some things that I know personally that I physically cannot do.
I remember
for my own mental well-being as well.
At one point I told my mom that I thought about being a teacher, and she was like, absolutely not. I was like, why? And she's like, you don't have the patience to be a teacher. It takes extreme patience. She's like, I think you can teach, but, and even now, like in my role, like where, you know, I help train and stuff, I'm like, okay, like adults, yes, but kids, because Camden, when he like sometimes doesn't get things, I'm like, if Susie has 2 apples, and she, like, I can feel myself being like, bro, it's right there. But see, you said home health care, and I think like for some people, like aside from like the fact that yeah, you may lose people, but like just even like the day-to-day work, I guess for me, like even my ex-father-in-law, like Cayman's dad, when he stayed with us when he was elderly, girl, I've wiped his butt, I've bathed him, like I've cleaned up stuff from the floor, if you get what I'm saying. Like,
oh yeah.
And
I mean, I don't mind doing that if
bothered
it's I don't mind if it's family, and I wouldn't mind if it's them either, but like my thing is I will get really attached, and especially to elderly, and if something happens to them, I'm done. Like,
and I
my
have
mental
more
is
patience
gone.
for elderly than children.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, I do.
Yeah, they've been through everything. They're literally at the last limit of their life. Like, treat them right.
Yeah, I think that's like even too with Chuck. Like, he's my ex-father-in-law, but like I still like go visit him regularly. That's Camden's grandpa. He was always a very good father-in-law, and still is like a very good grandpa, even though he's in a retirement home. And like the I don't even know, like the thought, because as he gets older, he's 79. He's gonna be 80 this year.
His dad?
Yes.
Girl.
Yes. So even
so he was like a very late in life kid.
Cayman's adopted. That's not his real dad.
Oh.
Which also, okay. Which is...
Brittany learned a fun fact today.
Which is why...
I was like, that's how old my great-grandparents
No.
are. Or like
yeah, he was born in the 40s, girl. Which is also, too, why when people give him shit, I'm like, he was born in a different... Like,
he's born in a different time dimension.
Yes, like, literally, I'm
my
like...
kids, you were born in the 1900s?
I mean, I've seen, like, you know, sometimes some people who should not be working in that field think that he's, like, racist. And I'm like, I'm his daughter-in-law and I'm Hispanic. And I can tell you, like, honestly, he's not. But does he say some things? I'm like, Chuck, we cannot say that.
Are they off the wall? Yeah, but he's also old.
Yeah, he's old. Like,
he's old.
And I'll correct him. I'll be like, Chuck, no.
We don't say that anymore.
Yeah, and he'll be, darling, why? Okay, all right, I'll be quiet. That's what he always tells me. I'll just shut up. I'm like, I'm not telling you to shut up. I'm just saying, just don't say that.
No, my great aunt, who I consider my grandma, like, if she says some out-of-pocket stuff that's way out of date, I'm like, and she'll go, was that bad? I'm like...
Because sometimes they don't know.
Yeah, and I'm just like, retire that. Like,
girl, like, I know, I had got him a cell phone, and I was like, just...
do it.
No, what? I turned it off. He would never answer it. Didn't understand it. It'd be ring, and then I would call the nurse line at the retirement home. I'd be like, hey, like, I'm trying to get Chuck in touch with Chuck. And they're like, yeah, we know. We've been hearing his cell phone. Hang on. And they, like, walk over there, and they'd, like... pick up the landline that they have in each room and like hand it to him. He'd be like, hello? And I'd be like, do you not hear the cell phone? He's like, I hear it. I don't know how to answer it. I'm like,
bro, the green button.
So I stopped and I got him like what is it?
The flip phone?
Yeah, but there's like it's not Cricket. Jitterbug. Like, I literally, like, straight up QVS ordered that shit.
Jitterbug? I've never even heard of that.
Like, it's only, like, a green accept, red reject, and numbers.
And he said he still doesn't know. And he still
was like, no. He was like, fuck that. But, I don't know. I think that was a big thing for me. Is like, yeah, younger me did not know what she wanted.
I didn't either.
Yeah, like, at all. And
I had big drive. And I feel like you did too. Like, I had a really good drive. Like, anything I got, I went to school for or got interested in, I actually did really good at it.
Yeah.
But it was just finding that drive. And I couldn't at 17. It was just nuts. You graduated at 17 too, right? Because we're both summer babies.
Yep.
And so when somebody's like, oh, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I work at Dairy Queen right now. Like,
I don't know.
Outside of school, like, that's all I do.
Yeah. Like,
so
I just, like, was like, okay, I guess for me, it's like, too, it's, and it depends on your childhood. Like, my childhood, I always want to say it's like, was not terrible. Because what is terrible? I don't know. But also, what is normal? But, like, there was just a lot of things that went into my childhood that, to this day, I'm like, therapy. I'm like, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, as a teenager, like, I'll say this, like, I had a lot of anger as a teenager. Like, the reason I went to school where I went, because it was, like, 6 hours away, was because I had a lot of anger towards just, like, my family and my circumstances. Mm-hmm. And originally, the original plan was that I was going to go to school north of Dallas, and I did.
For college?
For college.
Okay.
I went and, well, now it's, like, back to East Texas A&M branch, because it was East Texas State, but now when I went, it was A&M Commerce. But still, it's in Commerce, Texas, so it was very far from here, right? And I was like, I'm going to go. And, like, I had no plans to really, like, ever communicate with my family again. And then I was like, and I'll just move to Dallas and I'll just, like, make my life and I'll be an attorney. And, like, I didn't have.
And then boom, she got pregnant.
And I really, like, I was like, no plan to have kids.
But, dude, that was also, like, your sign from God. Like, you might not be wanting to do this. Like,
right. I think if I could talk to my younger self, I'd be like, those are not roadblocks.
Keep your legs closed.
Keep your legs closed. Don't do it.
Don't do him.
Don't do him. Nah, because I wouldn't have Cam, and that's
I know.
That's my
He's so
child.
sweet.
Did I tell you? One of my friends was like, "Is that your password child?" I was like, "Oh my god, it is."
I know Harper the other day got really upset. She was like, "Why is the password Landon 1 exclamation point?" And I was like, so I made a different password, hers. And I was like, hey, Harper, can you type in this Wi-Fi password for me? And she was like, sure. And it's Harper. She was like, oh, hey.
She's like, I'm the password child now. Or maybe I could buy him like Lan Harp 02 or something.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Landon 01, Harper 02 exclamation point.
I have to do that now because I feel guilty. But like,
that is our password. They're our first, though. Like,
I took those as roadblocks, and really, I think you're right. They were redirection from universe, God, whatever you believe in. I mean, I personally believe that God was like, and I've like said this even now, is like my greatest accomplishments, my greatest things that I'm like always just so grateful for, and like what really fulfills me it's not been like my career or like any job that I've worked at. I mean, my job fulfills me in a professional level, but like
it's because it provides for your kids.
Right. It's my kids. Yeah. Being a mom, it's Same. Like
I will base any job, any event. If it's like no kids allowed, I'm like, okay, well then I probably just won't go. And I mean, on the off chance that, you know, my mom will be like, oh yeah, like I'm free. Or Amanda's mom, I had an event a couple weekends ago and Amanda's mom had them for me. I'm just like, unless it's like that, Same. Monday through Friday, we do the same thing.
Well, even too, we had like, Valentine's, and who was it? Someone was like, where's Jed? Because I was supposed to have Jed until Caitlin was like, I can actually watch him for you. Because I didn't have anyone to watch him. So, but you guys were nice enough to be like, yeah, just bring Jed, you know, like, fuck it. But I walked in and was it Brianna? Maybe Kelly. One of them was like, you're missing someone.
Oh, yeah, it was Brianna.
Yeah.
She was like, where's Jed?
I mean, because Cam can be alone for a few hours. He's at that age now. But, like, obviously he can't watch Jed.
Mine had mine for a little bit for me.
Yeah. So I'm like, I mean, I was lucky enough to have the help. But, yeah, like, when we originally we were gonna film Monday, which was MLK Day, and I ended up having Cam and Ben and Jed, and then later on Cam's two friends came over. But like, even just there was like one point where I was driving Ben home, and I was like, "Fuck it, let's just stop for ice cream," because I had all of the boys, so his two friends, Ben, Cam, so 5, and my sister. She's in a rental right now because girl, she got in an accident too. Yes. I'm like, what is going on? But anyways, it's a 3-row. So I was like, can I borrow the 3-row? And she was like, yeah. And so I took him to Dairy Queen, and the whole way there, we're just like cracking up. And I'm like, when I was y'all's age, we used to just go around and tell your mama jokes to each other.
We did.
And they were like, what? And so I was like, all right, I'll start us. I was like, yo, mama is so fat. She can't wear yellow because kids try to get on her and ride her to school. And they were like, oh. And but some of them, one of the kids was like, yo, mama's not only so fat, she's so stupid. When the judge said order in the court, she said Big Mac fries.
Oh my God, that's actually a good one.
It was a good one for a kid. I was like, holy shit.
I only don't tell him to Landon because then he'll go tell them to all his friends at school. And for 4th graders, I'm like, that's maybe a little too soon.
Schoolers.
But you have middle school. I was about to say, you're in middle school. By then, they're telling each other nastier jokes than that.
Oh, yeah. Me. So I'm trying to foster, like, still joke. But
you're like, let's do your mama jokes instead. How about your daddy jokes?
Yeah, something else. But it was, like, funny to, like, just watch them, like, and I was even texting Jonathan. I was like, I love, like, being, like, just with them and just they're laughing.
Like,
and,
providing.
Like, ice cream. Yeah. And living their best lives. And, yeah, that's, like, what really, like, brings me joy. But younger me, like, if I told her, like, hey, what's gonna bring you the most joy? You're gonna have 5 kids someday. Yeah, yeah. Like no, but if I didn't like this is you, circa 2025, just taking your kiddos and their friends to go get ice cream, and you're just loving it. She would have been like, no,
I hate
that's
kids.
not my life. She was a little biatch. Younger me, like I said, I had so much just anger. I think a lot of my teenage years, I had a lot of anger that I didn't know what to do with because. And this is something else I tell young me is like, it's okay for you to just be who you are, and you don't have to be accepted by everybody. Not everyone is going to understand you. Not everyone is going to want to be your friend. Yeah, and that is okay.
It's okay. Yeah,
you still be you, girl.
Exactly. Well, and see, I knew I wanted to be at least a mom at a really young age because I would take every advantage to babysit whenever I could. Not only was it really good money, but I got to like be like, okay, here you go. Here's your kids back. You know, but then
like, and I have 10. 15.
Heck yeah. I would do a whole weekend sometimes for my friends that were in a band, and they would go out. Wow. They would go out of town the whole weekend. I'd have their 3 kids, and girl, back then they should have been like, CPS, this is 16-year-olds taking care of 3 babies. One of them was only like 4 months old at the time. But I had my own car. I had a cell phone. Like, if they needed me, they would instantly, they left me money to get food. They always had food. Like, we always had everything we needed while I was there.
Back.
No joke.
Bring that back. Yeah. I am so sick and tired. I mean, I'm not trying to dog on CPS at all. I couldn't even imagine. That is one career I know I also could not do.
No.
One, because I feel like if there was really a child in danger, I would lose it. I would lose my job because I'd be calling my case manager and be like, I'm taking these kids today. They'd be like, you haven't filed any paperwork. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Kids, get your shit. We're going. I'd be like, I cannot leave them here.
You don't live here anymore.
Yes, I know I would.
Well, I guess what like really upsets me is half the time they have to go after parents who aren't. They're shouldn't be. Time. They waste so much valuable time doing research on shitty other people that call on those people and have no proof.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Nothing. I'm like, bring it back to where we could, like. Okay, I'll say this. Like, there's some.
Shit, my parents would spank me with a hanger, and I'd still go to school like this, and nobody ever calls you this. I was like,
I was gonna say, even now, like, I see our kiddos, and you can always kind of see their personalities develop. And I'm like, yeah, I could see like Bella or Harper at 16 where I would trust them. I'd be like, I trust them before I trust Cam. And that's just the truth, even now. Yeah.
Well, it's also a girl thing. Like, you tend to trust girls like a little bit more because they mature faster.
They're more responsible. They're more motherly
and like home take care most of the time. I'm not saying all girls. But, right. But yeah, I would definitely trust Harper at home alone before I would trust Landon.
You're like 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But then you have the fear of CPS. I'm like, that's bull.
Hell no.
And it's funny.
Girl, I live with my parents. Nobody can call CPS on me. I was like, my parents live there 24/7 with us.
Yeah, well, Star is usually always home. I mean, she's in her room, but either way, it's just like, I just think it's dumb. I'm like, because even too, like, going into the store, if you leave your kids in the car, you know, how, like, you can, back in the day, my grandma, if we were bad going to the store, she'd be like, well, now y'all don't get to get off. And she'd be in there for hours.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Hours. And
really?
we'd be like, oh, grandma, but we were bad, so we'd learn our lesson. And now if it's like you run into the gas station and the car's in the front, and like someone be like, oh, she just left the kids in the car. For a second, I'm paying for my gas.
Yeah, I think I needed to go inside the gas station the other day and just grab my receipt. And I had 2 dogs in the car, I had my 2 kids, but I was like, damn, they're almost 8 and 10. Like,
fine.
and I lock, like my car locks. I was in there for maybe 25 seconds. Landon was timing me. He was like 28 seconds. I was like, bro, 25 at best. I ran and I ran right out. I looked like a crazy person holding a receipt, running back out. But
ghetto.
it was freezing. I know, but I also wasn't. How am I going to take out 2 dogs and 2 kids to grab a receipt?
It's ghetto that you have to run and think about that when really, like, if I saw it, I mean, it's not you.
Girl, I was at home by
sense.
myself at those ages.
Same. My
parents didn't have a bunch of money to pay for a bunch of babysitters or summer school or anything
Camps
like that.
And shit.
Yeah, my parents. So me and Christine, we was just like, just leave us some cereal. Like, we're good. No, but even 25 seconds, I feel bad. And so I'm just like, ugh. Like, but then I get really nervous ever doing anything like that ever again because I'm just like, okay.
I guess for me, like,
I don't want to get in trouble.
I'm like, call the po-po-ho. I'm like, please. Because I will.
So I'm getting my receipt.
I'll tell CPS straight up. I'm like, unless you have a warrant, you can't be in my house.
Well, at the same time, though, like, Briston was pulling up in her truck right beside me. So I jumped out and came back out and she was already there.
I just feel like those things, it's just my opinion. I'm like, we shouldn't have to, as moms, worry about those things. We know we're good moms. And it's common sense. If I see a mom getting off and going in real quick and she's at the gas pump or even pulls in front of the store. Now, if I see, like, kids that are in there and they're, like, shaking and the car's off and it looks like, you know, even in, like, this weather, it's cold. You can tell when a car's been sitting cold for a while.
Oh, yeah.
That's common sense. And even I'll be like, okay, let me walk around the store for 10 minutes, kind of look at my phone. And then I'll see, like, somebody come out and leave. I'm like, okay, like, they maybe just took a little bit longer. But, like, if I'm in the store, like, 15 minutes and I've timed it and the kids are still there and I don't see anybody, then I'd probably go up to the clerk and be like, whose car is that? Did you see an adult?
That's a long time.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's only for, like, quick in, quick out.
That's what like common sense is.
And the car stays on, and you can lock the car from
common
the outside.
Common sense says something's off because the car's off.
Yeah.
The kids look cold. The car looks cold to the touch. You've been in the store more than 10 minutes. That, to me, is just common sense. But I don't think a lot of people have that.
I don't think I would have ever even done that to begin with if I knew Briston wasn't pulling up right behind me. Just because I don't want to get in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't... No.
I think that's the difference between us. You're like, rule follower. And I'm like, rules are meant to be broken.
She's all like, call the po-po-ho. I'm like, don't. Like, I'm a good mom, please.
And I see, that's the little bit of, like, teenage me that still lives in me. Like, I could tell her, like, listen, it's not all bad. I know you, like, think, like, being a mom is lame. And, like, you're, like, gonna be this great lawyer and, like, live in the city of Dallas. And, like, that was, like, my
Dallas
dream.
thing.
Yeah.
To be a lawyer in Dallas?
Yeah.
Dude, you'd make a killing.
There's
a lot of homicides there.
And I was like, I'm gonna live in, like, this sky. Because, okay, Austin really wasn't that back then. Now it is. But back then, Dallas, even in 2012...
Dallas and Houston were the up and up.
They were the up and up. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to live in a fucking, like, high-rise apartment up there, and I'm going to be an attorney. Like, I had this whole life. I probably would have been a lesbian. I would have had a couple dogs. I was
like... Why? Why all randomly you're like, actually, I would have just been a lesbian. I'm like...
Definitely.
That's why I didn't have kids till I was 25, girl. I was a lesbian.
So... I don't know, but I would tell her, like, it's not all bad. There's still a bit of you that lives in here. And she
like, I ain't that old.
She comes out when I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care.
And me, I'm like, fuck it. All right. And I don't know. The kids do literally everything with me. They go everywhere with me, do everything with me. And what's cool as hell about that is I'm never alone.
Yeah, like, little girl me just super lost. And I think more than anything, it's like, if I could talk to that part of myself, it'd also be like, you don't search for love. Mm-hmm. You don't search for the things that fulfill you. They're just with you. They come to you. Mm-hmm. And that's my kids. Like, to your point, like, they're with me. They came to me in the time that they were supposed to. Mm-hmm. And
have showed you each, like, completely two different things, like, about life.
And love. Like, I don't search for love anymore. When I was a little girl, because of the divorce, I very much would search for love and validation. That spilled over into my teenage years, which is honestly why I think I became a teen mom, because I would hang on to, like, relationships for as long as I could. And even, like, I think about, like, the things that me and Cayman had went through, you know, whenever we were in that time of our lives, it was really just me. And I don't regret that. I don't regret Camden. But when I look at it, I'm like, it's because I was just looking for validation. I was just still basically inside of 17-year-old me, who is now looking for validation in a sexual way. Really inside of her was 5-year-old me that's like, I don't have my dad and I want love. So I want male love, so that I'm seeking validation really from anyone who would give it to me. And now, just over the course of the years as an adult, knowing, like you said, what love really is through my children and how it comes to you, I don't.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just kind of like, I got my kids. Like,
well, even too, like, in our friendship, I'm like, the right people love us for us. Like, we just love each other for who we are. Like,
yeah. Well, I love that, like, every time we're just like, hey, let's have a pizza and chill night. All of our kids come over with us, and everybody has pizza, and we watch movies. Like, we just do whatever. And that makes it so much easier, because a lot of the times, you know, not a lot of the times, but sometimes you have that, oh, well, these people get to go do whatever they want 24/7 and da-da-da-da. But I also would have probably only 10% stamina that I do right now if my kids were not here. Like, I don't think I would be, like, planning out my life the way that I have been and trying to do if my kids were not here. Just because I'm doing everything I do for them.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like, if I didn't have my kids, and that's probably what I would tell my younger self, like, I could still see myself living a very seeking life.
Like, still trying to find, and then nobody would be good enough for you.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be good enough for me. Like, that's something I'd have to, you are good enough for you.
Yeah, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else, is that saying. Yeah.
Oh my God. And, okay. I will say this. So me and Jonathan, Saturday, we went out for, like, our late Valentine's, and we woke up at, like, 2 a.m. and we ended up just watching 13 Going on 30.
I love that movie.
And by the way, he watched,
I thought you were going to say 13 Ghosts. I was like, ooh, girl, that's scary, but I like it.
No, you know how I am. This bitch
the lady in the cake.
She sends me a screenshot. Like, Cruise Killers, I told you it's real. I'm like, don't send me that shit. Don't send it to me. Then I'll get paranoid. But no, he watched the whole thing. I was like, and he was into it too.
Had you never seen it?
No.
What?
And we sat, and it's one of my, like, comfort films. And I remember just, like, laying in bed with him, and at one point I was like, you know what this movie taught me? And he was like, what? I was like, girls who hate themselves become women who hate themselves, and then they hate you. Like, they hate everyone around them.
Oh, yeah. I definitely had, like, body dysmorphia. Like, I definitely hated my body and all kinds of stuff, and I would for sure take that out on other people when I was younger. I tried not to, but it was definitely me. And then I'd get depressed, and then I'd eat again because I was depressed.
Well, see, and a lot of people,
it was just like a nonstop thing.
I think for a lot of people,
so I was constantly never happy with
what
I was, me or who I was dating or whatever.
Yeah, my friend group, like, and I can honestly say this now, like, back in high school, maybe college a little bit. Definitely high school. Like, I had one really good friend, but, like, to anyone else that was, like, my friend, I was a shitty friend. Like, even now, I'm like, if I could talk to 17-year-old me, I'm like, bitch, you owe those people an apology. You are the worst. Like, you are the worst. I didn't become, like, I guess you could say, a girl's girl until I learned self-love. And, like, 13 Going on 30, I know a lot of people attribute that as, like, a rom-com, like a romantic comedy. And I think it is, but for me, it was more of like a coming of age movie because it follows her into that seeking life. Like, she gets to see it.
Yeah,
Where
girl, but when we were watching that when we were younger, we're like 30. And then now I'm like, damn, I'm pushing 35.
Well, I remember
like,
watching
ooh.
that and being like, her whole friendship with the other girl. I forget her name, but they ended up being still. And when she gets her dreams come true, her wish, right? Where she's like 30, flirty, thriving. She still stays friends with that girl. And she ends up like being backstabbed by her. And she tells Matt at one point, she's like, do you know what kind of person I am? Like, I'm not a good person. Like, this is the kind of person I am.
You're saying that would be you?
I think that would have been me.
Really?
I really do.
I'm glad we weren't friends back then.
I'm
Because
glad
I would have
so
told
too.
you.
You would have hated my ass.
Oh, I'd have told you straight up. I'd have been like, hey, so you're a bitch and I don't want to be your friend.
Right.
Because I was a bitch like that.
Right.
Like, I told you straight up. And, like, my siblings used to, like, a couple of years ago make fun of me because growing up, if they would piss me off, I'd be like, do you want me to slap you? And I meant it. Like, I meant it.
But see, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
And they're like, let me slap you? And I'm like, okay, yes, I understand. I used to say that. And it was terrible. Like,
but valid. But you would have probably, yeah, you probably wouldn't have liked
at
me.
least I asked.
Yeah. Did you want me to slap you? I'd have been like, ew, no. I was like, that. You're like, this bitch needs to be slapped.
You need to be slapped now.
But I think I would have possibly become that. And I think that movie showed me, along with other things, right? Like, other things in my life happen that made me be like, girl, you don't love yourself, do you? And because you don't love yourself, you don't love...
You're not happy.
You're not happy. You want others to not be happy. You don't love the people around you. And I think that's like the biggest thing I would preach to myself. Like, the sooner you can learn to love yourself, you can have so much love. Like you guys, like, I mean, you ladies are my support. Like, I couldn't, even when we were talking to Brianna, she's like, I don't know if I'm gonna do anything to make it my birthday weekend. I was like, no, we have to. That would have not been me.
We hadn't seen each other and had a get together since New Year's, and we were still had our kids,
right?
So, but except for this time,
right? This last time, Galentine's. But I'm like, and I gotta actually, you know what? When we're eating our pizza here in a minute,
you're gonna post something for Brianna's
group
birthday.
Chat and be like,
all right, I just gotta make sure I'm kid free that week or that
we
weekend.
can bring the kids. That's why I offered my house.
Oh yeah,
because I could
do
set
pizzas
up a
in the movie again.
Do pizzas again. And
see,
and
that's so easy and so.
And
sorry, we're talking about our own plans.
But I wouldn't have had that. And now I'm so glad.
I didn't have that in high school. I just had Brianna because, like, when I left Crockett my sophomore year, I kind of was so pissed that I was having to move, and I had been raised with all those people. And
anger, yeah.
So I just, like, deleted all of them and was like, I'll never see y'all again anyways because y'all...
That anger.
Yes, but when you think about it, at that age, Austin to Kyle seemed so far away. Right? It seemed like it was like 45 minutes away. And so I was like, well, I'll never see y'all again. So I might as well just not talk to y'all. And then I went to Lehman and then just had my friends from Lehman. But like Brianna and I have been the only consistent like since high school.
Right.
Yeah.
I have one long-term friend from high school. And I think, and I got to give it to her. She has always been also like a very big, person in my life. Like, she doesn't realize I look up to her even though we're the same age. She's only a month older than me, but because she understood self-love in our teenage years, like we met when we were 13, and I think she loved herself so much. She loved me even when I didn't deserve it.
That's Brianna too, girl.
Oh,
I just be like, how are you getting all these fun adventures that you're getting? Like, how do I get in on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing that? She's like, girl. And she just loved herself so much that she was just like, no, I love me. So if they like me, then they like me for me.
Right. And
I was just like, how are you doing that?
Right. Like, even when we weren't our best versions, like, having those
she has loved me since 16 to 35. Yep. Like, so
my best friend Amber's loved me.
And that's
from
like
13.
the craziest times of your life.
Oh yeah.
Like,
She's seen me through it all. And I'm so glad. I wish I could have come into it sooner, but I'm so glad I did now.
Yeah.
Because I see women my age who still hate themselves and they're alone. They're like not in relationships.
I finally
like,
don't hate myself.
Friend.
I love my life. I love my kids. Like,
have the conversation with teenage you.
I love it.
Or little girl you. Whatever the issue is.
I even asked my kids last night. I was like, hey, you know, like, we've been making some amazing memories together, like, da-da-da-da-da, but I want to know if I can do anything to be a better mom. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, really? And so they were like, well, can we think that I asked them each separately, and they took time to think about it. Girl, they both could only come up with two things. I was like, okay. And they said Harper said it first, but she was like, probably when me and brother are arguing and you get tired of it and you yell.
Yeah,
I was
yelling
just like,
with Cam's this year.
okay. I was like, I will definitely work on that. I promise. If I ever am like starting to get worked up and get over like
Stimmy.
Well, my thing is that I'll say the same thing 30 times. No joke. I'll be like, guys, knock it off. Hey, be sweet to each other. Hey, stop hitting each other. And then by like the 10th, 12th time, I'm like,
we also don't hit our kids, though.
Oh, not at all.
Exactly.
No.
So I think we're
I used
more
to get
inclined
spanked,
to yell.
bro. What, if my mom had to say it 2 times, she would be like, I already told you twice. And you're like, ah! Like, but then she had Florida wrangle.
Because we're...
I don't spank
I don't spank either.
And it's hard for me to ground because we got shit to do. Like, me and the kids have plans. We have 2 birthday parties at least every single weekend.
You ain't about to fuck up my plans because
Hell
you're grounded.
no. Like this Sunday, we have a roller skating birthday party. I'm like, y'all better be good because I want to go roller skating.
Y'all don't get grounded.
And this is free roller skating, okay? Like, I have to pay.
And free
pizza. Yeah, and free drink. I'm like, kids, don't make me ground you. They'll be like, Lennon looks at me and he's like,
because I feel the
yes,
same.
that was it. That was it. It was whenever you get really, but Harper said, it's only when you get really upset with us because we just keep fighting. I'm like, but that's why I'm upset.
Okay, I'm gonna work on it. You're like trying, your eyes like twitching. You're like trying not to. You're like, I'll work on it.
Yeah, but not like having a spouse there all the time. It's just always me.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, how can I? Because I can't be like, honey, I've already told him 20 times it's your turn. Like,
is it possible with either their mom or your current relationship to be like, you know what, I need a timeout, but I'm gonna have you call this person? Because I do that with Cam now. I'll have him call his dad.
And explain what's going on.
And
I think I'm going to start doing that. I think I'm going to be like, hey, to my ex and just be like, hey, can you help us out with this? Because we're not getting along or whatever. But that's the only time I ever lose my cool.
Same.
They're just like, well, you get worked up. But I'm like, because guys,
I asked you over and over. Yeah.
I would rather yell at y'all than spank y'all.
Same. I don't want to spank Cam.
I have spanked my kids maybe once or twice each in their whole entire lives. And it was like...
been like twice, yeah.
And it was like nothing. And then I instantly felt bad. And I'm just like, no, we can talk this out.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. I just don't like it because I got hit so much too growing up. So I just...
Yes,
but
I'm just like... No.
But I have started doing that. Like when Cam did, especially now going to the preteen years, I'm like, you know what? Go upstairs. And then I'll be like, Cayman, are you free? And he'll be like, give me a sec or whatever. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he is. And I'm like... okay, I'm going to call you and I'll tell him what's going on. And he'll be like, do you want me to call him or you want to take the phone upstairs? And I'm like, either one.
Either way. Yep. I think I'm going to start doing that then.
Where Camden will be like, we're going to continue this the next time I see you. And Camden's like, fuck. He knows
that it's coming.
That it's coming. And then all of a sudden he's behaving. Because he's just kind of sitting there thinking about it. Like, oh shit, Dad's going to pick me up from school tomorrow. And I know he's going to talk to me about this. And I'm like, yeah. And then I still am working on the yelling. Like, it's not perfect, but... try that. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and see, and I don't yell every single time. It's just sometimes when they get me like, and I'm already like trying to do like work stuff on my phone or like, it's always at the most inconvenient time. And I'm just like, sorry. But the only other thing they said was sometimes I cuss in front of them. And Harper don't like that. And so I was like, okay, babe.
I could see Harper saying that.
I was like, okay, babe, well then I will definitely.
I'm like, Landon, really? Like,
when he goes, well, what did Sissy say? I was like, well, she had also said whenever you are fighting about the yelling. And I go, but then she said cussing. He goes, sometimes I whisper. Sometimes I whisper, damn, or
I've heard him say, what the? And he'll look at me and I'm like,
what the what?
And he'll be like,
Yeah, he'll be like, sometimes when I'm on my Oculus, I'll like whisper damn or like hell.
Or so shit.
Yeah, he goes, so cussing is fine. I was like, no, it's not fine, and I shouldn't be doing it in front of y'all, and I'm really sorry. It's usually when I'm around my dad.
Yeah, I could see a bug in sis. But yeah, I that's what I'm saying. Like I guess for me it's like even just those conversations. I know I didn't have those as kids.
Oh
like,
yeah, no. And I want to do it every like at least once a month.
I do it every year.
How do you think this month has been?
Maybe I'll
what
try
could we
monthly.
improve on?
Or quarterly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too.
I could do quarterly. Monthly's a lot for me, but I think I could do quarterly of just like an eval of where we're at as a family and parenting and what Cam can do better and what I can do better. But like those things don't happen all the time and you have to be proactive to change them. And that's why I say, like, when I see unhealed adults, I'm like, write a letter to yourself. Talk to younger you. Like, and
no,
you
me and my
make
kids
crazy.
laugh and play 95% of the time. It's that 5% where they're like, they will not leave each other alone. And I'm just like, oh my God.
But you have to heal that part of yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And I told them that I would definitely work on that. If that's all they're going to tell me, that means I've been an amazing mom so far. You know, when I think that I'm like, I'm like mediocre because I let my kids have a bunch of whatever, like phone, tablet time on the weekends, but it's their weekend, you know. Thank you. So are you.
What would my first sentence be? Let me see. Let me ask. Would you write a letter to like little kid you or like teenage you or preteen you?
Probably preteen, just because I didn't feel like I belonged. Like when I started high school, I was like a tomboy, basically. I just like to lift weights and play soccer and do whatever.
You told me you love lifting weights. I did too. I was on the powerlifting team.
And so I just had mainly guy friends at first in high school. But then when chicks would try to like hang out and talk to me, I'm like, and I would try to like mesh in there. So I was just trying to like find
yourself
where I thought I fit in the best. And guess what? It's everywhere. Right. I belong in every single, well, like I realized that when I went to Lehman, I talked to the cheerleaders, the jocks, the rockers, the nerds. I talked to everyone knew talked to me. I talked to everybody. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't belong in one group. I think that's what I had to figure out about myself is I thought that I had to belong to one specific group of people or like type of people or what they loved, and realizing that I didn't have to is what broke me free.
Yeah. I think it would definitely be more so to like preteen me too or teenage me.
Yeah.
Because little girl me, like she was just sad and lost, but like for sure, I'd be like...
And see, I don't want that for my kids ever.
I don't either. And that's why I work so hard on this shit.
Yes, yeah.
Like, when I have to sit down and be like, dear 14-year-old Elena, sex does not equate love. Because I was very young when I lost my virginity. And
I was 14 too, but it was with a chick.
Well, mine wasn't. But anyways.
I was sex with a guy till I was almost 18 years old.
Sex does not equate love. And... you don't have to go searching for the right people who are meant to be in your life. And
they'll come along. Yeah.
They'll come along because you're enough, girl.
Girl, I never thought being pissed off because I had to switch high schools and I was just walking. Mind you, I went from like caring about, you know, kind of what I looked like to just being like, fuck everything. And so I told the gym teacher that I wasn't going to run in gym class. And, you know, you get docked points for that. And it's not, I only weighed like 165 pounds. I wasn't, but it was like, it looked good on me. Like, it wasn't, like, chubbiness. I'm walking next to this chick, and I'm like, hey, why aren't you running? She's like, because I'm fat. I don't run. I was like, bitch. And we've been friends ever since. I was like, sounds great. Yeah. She's like, yay big. I'm like, what's up, girl?
That was, like, me and I guess my first representation of, like, love and acceptance was also my best friend, Amber.
Yeah.
And I remember she met me when
I just knew if we were having a ball, I didn't need a spouse. I was just like, no, I see her every day at school, after school, on the weekends. I don't need a spouse.
She has seen every era of me. I'll have to show you a picture or like post it. But when she met me, I was like, oh God, I'm going to throw up. My like Rastafarian, like hippie era. I would only wear like the like summer tie-dye dresses to school. And
oh my God,
I would
really?
like curl my hair with mousse. And I was like very
I don't picture that at all. That's
I was
funny.
in debate and stuff, but like I would have been like an environmentalist fucking lawyer at that age. I'm like, save the trees.
Yeah, literally. You're like,
she's like gone through that with me. Like she's gone through every phase, and every phase she just loved me so much, and she is the epitome of self-love. Like, even now, to this day, she's not married yet, but I know she will. And I'm like, the man who marries her, I'm going to be Waterworks. He's so lucky. I'm going to pull him aside and be like, listen here.
That's why I always fuck with Omar. I'm like, how do you think y'all have lasted in a 12-year, 13-year relationship? Because she's the best.
Yeah.
And if you fuck with her, I'm going to fuck with you.
I will kill you.
Hunt you down.
You see
I know where you sleep.
All those chicks in there laughing and drinking fruity shit.
Yeah, that won't be me.
They'll help.
I will hunt you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We could find you so quick.
He's like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, girl. At first, she was like, I warned him to chill a lot. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And she's like, that you just say what's on your mind? I'm like,
She's
Damn
like,
right I
you're a
do.
lot, but I love you. What is the? I don't understand the problem here.
Well, that I would shit on him and like pick on him.
But that's
and-
what I'm saying. She still loved you. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
just,
she let me do it too. She wouldn't even defend his ass. She'd be like, "Get him."
that's like my best friend Amber. I'd be like, girl, I think I fucked up, and she'd be like, it's okay.
It's okay.
What's going on? Shout out to my best friend Amber. She's
I know.
just,
I'm like, shout out to Brianna too.
yeah,
They're great.
They are, and they're very similar in their personalities. I love Brianna too. That
Yeah.
girl.
She's just like everything is just like. And for all the shit that she's been through in her life, I'm like,
Yes.
dude, how do you keep it just like?
I admire her.
She's like, she has no high ups, she has no down, like low downs. I'm like, what the fuck?
We need that balance.
We do, but that's why her and I.
Well, I guess we can leave our listeners with a challenge. Write yourself.
Well, I was about to say, write your younger self a letter.
Right. If you haven't
Do
ever
it.
before, maybe do it.
Yeah.
And just see how you feel afterwards.
Yeah.
First time I did it, I cried.
Oh yeah, me too. I was like, I think I'm gonna do it again soon though, and like put it in a safe place for Harper to read whenever she's probably like 12 or 13.
Oh my God. I'm going to steal that idea.
Go for it. Yeah,
I'm gonna write
I'm
to myself
like-
and like as a coming of age, give it to Camden and be like, this was what I was going through at that age. You don't, I'm
Girl,
here
I
if
mean,
you want to talk, but
Yep, I'm even thinking about taking my kids and homeschooling them for middle school just because middle school
It's
was
rough.
rough. It was like, it's so rough because you're trying to figure out all this huge schedule.
Yep.
Then you've got all these sports. Then you've got all these
Friends
people
are changing,
fucking with
things
you.
are changing.
Yes, your body's changing. Your mind is changing. Like, everything is just going nuts. So I'm like, I might be even that helicopter mom that's like, okay, for 3 years, you're homeschooled, and then you can go to high school.
yep.
But who
Well, we
knows?
challenge you guys. Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.